What's up, UMS Movement Mastermind Tribe? Today we are going to talk about how to overcome and how to take bad news, because a lot of people have had a lot of bad news in the last couple of months, and us included, and we're going to share how we overcome bad news. We're going to go deep into that. We're going to answer a couple of cool questions, and we're going to bring you up to speed with a couple of cool things that are going on around here at Unity Gym. All that and more coming up right after this.
Hey everyone, in case we haven't met, my name's Rad Burmeister. That's my brother Yani. We're the co-founders of Unity Gym and the co-creators of the UMS, the Unified Movement System, where we turn driven people into superhumans. And if you want to know how we do that, it's because we've got a program that has a balance between strength and flexibility. You can learn more about it by downloading one of the free blueprints, the Strength, Flexibility, or Nutrition Blueprint. There's a link in the description of this video for them. And also join the UMS Movement Mastermind, which is our Facebook group where we go live like this daily. And we got a bit of a hit yesterday. Well, every small business in Australia did. From the government telling us we've been waiting for the last 3 weeks since they forced a lockdown and forced the closure of non-essential business, meaning gyms being a part of that. We've all been waiting. What happens to our rent? What are we doing? And we got a little bit of a kick in the teeth where they basically said to us that they're passing legislation where it's there's a lot to it, which there's really no point in going through the whole details of it, but it basically means that a portion of the rent that you can't pay is going to have to be paid back when we reopen again, which is, it's going to be the final nail in the coffin for a lot of small businesses.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And
small businesses live, most small businesses, and when we say most, we're talking well over 95% live month to month, meaning if they make no revenue, they can't survive for more than a month.
On top of that, the majority of small business owners take less than the average wage home at the end of the day. They're on, the average small business owner is on around $50,000 to $55,000 a year. That's a fact. That's not fiction. And so
this is in Australia.
This is in Australia, yeah. So there's not a lot of room not a lot of wiggle room. Putting a small business.
For those of you that are in America, just to put that into perspective, in America, from my understanding of wages in America, that is just above minimum wage. Minimum wage in Australia is about $42,000 a year. So we're talking about 20% above minimum wage.
Yeah, is it?
I'm pretty sure, someone jump on here and let me know. I'm pretty sure minimum wage in Australia is about $40,000.
I don't think so. I think it's higher than that now.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Let us know, anyone.
I don't know for sure though, but what I do know is that most small businesses live week to week, dollar to dollar, and it's not like what people think where they're millionaires. I mean, we've practically run Unity Gym for 7 years as a not-for-profit. We've never taken profit at the end of a financial year.
We've run Unity Gym for 7 years as a basically prop up the taxman business. That's basically what we've done. We've supported the ATO more than any other small business in North Sydney. That's what we've done.
Yeah, and look, and so the news yesterday did come as a hit to us because it means that there's no real way out of this except for a big truckload of bad debt at the end of it, and our landlord has really dug his heels in to date, basically saying initially that any rent relief will just be a loan to us, and then we have to pay it back at some point anyway. So this has basically just made it legal for him to do that, and it's justified his stance. So yeah, last night, both Rad and I and Richard had to process that. It's a real hit. It's bad news, but. We still came to work this morning, and I think we probably delivered as good, if not one of the best workouts to our tribe that we've done so far, and we're going to absolutely crush the rest of the day. You know why? Because it serves nobody to sit there and dwell on that bad news. It's I'm not going to say I didn't process. I went on a couple of mad rants on social media last night. I did some posts, shared how I felt, spitting all over the place, very passionately. I know what he's talking about. That's why I'm laughing.
If you haven't seen the Kevin Hart Irresponsible, you probably don't get that reference.
You wouldn't get that. But look, Tribe, we want to dive into this because a lot of us are getting bad news at the moment, and it's hard to take, and it can be crippling. It can be paralyzing to really let that punish you and knock you down. And it goes in alignment with what we're talking about right now, which is taking extreme ownership of our situation and, not waiting. No one's going to get us out of this situation but us.
Well, I've got something to share here. I want to read. I've recently subscribed to the Daily Stoic, Ancient Wisdom for Everyday Life. I get a daily email, and it comes at a really good time for me. It comes sometime between when I read my last emails in the evening and then when I get up very early in the morning, so that once I've finished my meditation and I'm about to get ready to start my day, I read these. And they're very short, but today's, I think, was a really good one. So this is it here. As we've discussed, one could look at the world right now and see a lot of negative. Or you could grab the other handle, as Epictetus says, and see the positive.
Epictetus.
You
pronounce
Epictetus,
it
Epictetus.
yeah.
Epictetus, okay. And see the positive. It's an open question. This is a great time to be alive or a terrible one. Are we blessed to have spent 20 years without any major wars, without any truly global crisis, with sustained periods of economic prosperity and incredible technological advances? Or has it been 20 years with 3 major recessions, with the terror of terrorism, disruptive or disappointing tech, and now with a global pandemic? Here's the Stoics' answer. It doesn't matter, because you don't control when you live. What history will think of this period compared to the other periods is meaningless. The only thing that counts is that you're alive right now. We don't choose when we live, we choose how we live. That's it. You didn't ask for this moment, maybe you'd prefer things to be different. Well, they aren't, and you're going to have to make do. Understand this and you will be wise. Adhere to it and you will be successful. How can we make the most of right now? That's the question. How can we live well within or in spite of what's happening? That's our job. You think Marcus Aurelius wanted to live through the plague of, what is it, Epictetus, in a time where slavery existed, or Seneca during Nero's rule? Nope, but they figured it out, they made it work, and so can you.
Yeah, absolutely. Stoicism is a philosophy that I've followed for about 3 or 4 years now. I just started by reading this great book called The Daily Stoic. And it's just a series of little essays by people like Epictetus, by Marcus Aurelius, and they're taken out of their diaries back when those guys were alive. And it's completely changed my thought process. It's really helped to reaffirm what Rad and I talk about here all the time. But it's so true. And one of the key sort of philosophies, Stoic philosophies, is that you can't control what happens, but you can control how you react to what happens. And it is absolutely in everybody's power to choose their reaction, which then chooses their state of mind, which chooses the way they think and the way they respond. And this is exactly what Rad and I and Richard are doing today. Off the back of some pretty jolting bad news, we've come to work with more vigor and motivation than ever. I walked in this morning at 6:20 or 6:30, and on the speaker was playing motivational speeches by some of the most sort of motivating people in the world, not music, something that was going to put our mindset into the right tune, which I loved. I thought was absolutely awesome. And it's not an accident that we behave this way, and it's not an accident that we're going to turn this into a positive somehow, and we're going to climb over this obstacle and then leap off the top of it with and make more ground up as a result than we were before. We've trained ourselves to be like this. We've practiced this for long enough now, and Rad's starting to digest the Daily Stoic philosophy, which I think is fantastic because it's going to put us in better alignment, and eventually that'll trickle down through, and Richard will start doing it, whether he likes it or not. But you got to understand, guys, it's not an accident. It's not an accident that we're where we are, and it's not going to be an accident when we're one of the most popular gym businesses in the world. You heard it first here.
There's no doubt.
We are I believe that we are unstoppable. And even if we were forced to shut this gym down, we would open up another gym. I might not be the director of it. I might have to declare bankruptcy, but Richard would be the new director. We wouldn't stop. This is the thing. This is how we roll. And one of the key the keys to this mind frame, and I hear Gary Vaynerchuk talk about this all the time. If you don't know who Gary V is, then look him up on social media. He's everywhere. He talks about the fact that one of the most important things to do is just get over the worst possible scenario. Like, the worst possible scenario is that we would lose this gym, and we'd probably grow the online as a result because we'd have a bit more time, and I would probably not be able to be a director maybe for a few years, and we'd put one of these guys in charge as the director of the new company, and we'd probably open a gym up across the road. You know, like, it wouldn't stop us. You know, and we would open up stronger than we've ever been because we know more than we knew before. You know, we wouldn't make the same mistakes. What's the worst thing that can possibly happen? You know, in our country alone, even homeless people make, like, on average $40,000 or $50,000 a year from begging on the streets. Like, you know, we can do this. And I know in this unprecedented time, the worst thing that can happen is that you can lose your life, you know, and that is serious. But that still doesn't give me a reason to quiver and hide at home doing nothing. You know, we're out working our asses off to become fitter, stronger. You know, I saw an opportunity to level up by adding more cardio. I used to box as an amateur boxer for on and off for around 16 years, and I used to have insane cardiovascular strength and ability, and I've lost that over the years because my focus has been more on just banging out reps in the gym here. So I started hitting the punching bag again, and albeit busted up my hand really badly yesterday or the day before, but I'm like, stuff this, man. I'm going to get my cardio back. Rad's doing cardio for the first time since his army days.
Well, to this level, yeah.
To this level, but he's like turning into an absolute weapon as a result, you know, and you guys can do the same thing. Yeah,
for sure. Look, it's all about, you know, recognizing, I mean, I've been I was introduced to Stoicism back in my Kung Fu days by my teacher, and I didn't realize it because he never said that word to me. But the philosophy that I was being taught was very similar. It was always about, you know, detach yourself from what's going on and just focus on what you need to do right now and what's right in front of you. And I'm lucky that I had a teacher that could teach me that stuff at an early stage in life. Who knows where I would have been if I didn't have access to that kind of wisdom, because I was definitely off the rails for a while, and he really, you know, guided me. And it's something that in a time like this, it's really, really important to practice and to, you know, do the things that you focus on the things that you're in control of, that you can control, and just let go of the things that you can't control. It's very hard to do. It is hard. It takes practice, but anything that's worthwhile is hard to do. I would argue that there's nothing worthwhile in life that isn't hard to do when you start, because if it wasn't hard to do, everybody would do it, and then it wouldn't be worthwhile. By nature, that's the whole thing, you know. Gold was valuable because you had to go up into the mountains and endure hardship digging into the ground to try and get it. You know, if you could walk down the street and pick it up, it wouldn't be valuable, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, I think that the concept, the philosophy of Stoicism has been bled out of society over the years. Like when I think about our grandfather, and when I think about those sorts of generations, they were a lot more black and white because they weren't raised to think that they were owed anything or that they had so many choices. Like nowadays we have so many choices and everyone feels entitled. Like there's a level of entitlement that the world owes us something because we've done this, or we've gone to university, or we've, you know, and as a result of all these choices and all this entitlement, we've forgotten that you know, or we get frustrated when we start to be shown or the power is taken away from us. Like right now, you know, people are carrying on about how difficult it is to be cooped up at home and things like that. But in the grand scheme of like tragedy in history, it's really not that bad what we're going through right now, you know. Yeah. It's hard for us because it's the worst we've experienced, but, you know, like I think you need to really just let go of, there's a few things that are out of our power now that we can't control. As Rad said, focus and double down on what you can control. Bruce Lee once said the successful warrior is the average person with laser focus, being able to focus on the right thing at the right time with laser-like ability. And I love that quote because it really empowers every single one of you out there to become super successful in this moment right now. There is nothing stopping you except yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. It's a hard thing to accept, but it's something that you just have to make a choice that you're going to start practicing something. It's just like going to the gym. When you start, the funniest thing I've heard people say is, people say, oh, look, I've just got to get a little bit fit, and then when I'm a bit fitter, I'll come to the gym. I think, would you listen to the insanity of that statement? Like, that's like saying I'm going to learn to read before I pick up a book. You get fitter by going to the gym, and you learn how to, be stoic by practicing it. It's one of those things. But let's move on to, there's a couple of things that we wanted to talk about, which are some things that are coming up for you that we have been working on. So it's what we're going to be releasing tomorrow and next week. So today I'm filming the phase 2 for the at-home workouts. And for those of you that have been doing phase 1, we've just had so much great feedback from it. People are talking about, we've had a few testimonials in this group recently of people saying how much more value they get out of the workouts when they purchase the program and they got the tutorials. And I can't emphasize that enough. So the phase 2 tutorials and the whole program is going to be getting released next week on Friday for the weekend flash sale. As always, if you can support us, it just goes so far, with what we're going through, everything that we just described then. We really do need your support now more than ever. And also tomorrow, we're going to be putting the handstand masterclass on as the weekend flash sale, which is because we're just trying to think of which of our programs are really going to benefit people at home. And the handstand masterclass is just brilliant. So many people want to learn how to do handstands, and it requires absolutely no equipment whatsoever, not one single thing. And it does require a little bit of time to practice every day, between 30 and 45 minutes, I'd say.
Yep.
So this is the perfect opportunity to learn how to do a handstand. If you've ever wanted to learn how to do a handstand before, this is going to be an amazing opportunity, because just like all of our other flash sales, it's going to be a ridiculous discount, about 90% off. It's going to come with a bunch of other things that are going to help you to get there. And as always, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Yeah, and it's one of those programs that is an enabler for so many other things. Learning to do a handstand is not just a cool thing that you can show off to your friends with. It unlocks the posture in your shoulders. It dramatically levels up the strength in your hands, fingers, wrists, your arms, core, shoulders, core, neck, It's
the entry level for calisthenics.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's considered by the top gymnastics coaches that it is the entry level movement, because it actually puts the least amount of pressure on the wrists if you compare it to something like a planche, because you're stacked directly above your hands, and which means it also puts the least amount of pressure on the shoulders, and it teaches you a body alignment that is essential for calisthenics training, for body weight training.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's such a good way to get started and to level up your at-home workouts with what you're doing now.
Absolutely. Now, on that note, I want to talk about a question that came through from our UMS Movement Mastermind Tribe from Adam Mullaney. He's talking about he's trying to level up his overhead flexibility, and he asked a couple of questions. First and foremost, he said, I can get my hands together into extension behind the back, but I struggle with what's referred to as the Apley scratch test, where you get your fingers to touch behind your back here. And why is that? First and foremost, to answer that really simply, there are slightly different things occurring there that require different levels of flexibility. Both, there's lots of different things that can affect that. But in general, your shoulder muscles, your anterior delts, your pecs, your lats, and your bicep are going to affect this. Also, your tricep, being able to get the elbow behind the head. In this position, in that flexion position, it is slightly different requirements for the body, and it's a little bit easier to go there, but it's much harder to develop strength there. So we like to talk about developing end range strength in the extension position, and developing obviously flexibility in the overhead position. The handstand masterclass is a very good way to develop flexibility in the overhead position. We really, really work on that a lot. We also work on that end range strength component. And we work on, because we're doing L-sits, we're working on that end range strength in the flex position, in the extended position. Sorry, I get those mixed up all the time. So it's a really good program for someone like yourself, brother, to sink your teeth into.
It's a unique approach to handstand training as well, that in all honesty, and we've worked with some very, very good hand balancers over the years. Some of the top people that are out there in the world that are, they make their living from traveling the world and teaching handstands. And we've worked not only in workshops with them, we've worked privately with them. We've had them come to the gym here. And one thing that I notice in the general handstand teaching is that there is a lack of explaining opposing movements. And that's one of the things that really makes the UMS program highly effective, is that we always train opposing movements in everything that we do so that you get balance in the joint. And the handstand takes the shoulders to extreme flexion and then demands strength there, strength and control. So it only makes sense that you also need to take your shoulders through extreme extension and develop strength and control there as well in the same workout, 1-to-1 ratio. If you don't do that, you create imbalances. And I would like someone to show me an example where this isn't the case, but any specialist that I've seen is imbalanced. Specialization by definition creates imbalance because you specialize in something, and when you specialize in something, you neglect other things. And that's why we take a generalist approach where we try and take what we can from calisthenics, from martial arts, from weightlifting, from gymnastics, from whatever, and dance, but always bring it together with the thought of, is this balanced? Is strength balanced with flexibility? Is opposing movements balanced with the antagonist movement? Is the joint balanced from side to side? Is the left and the right side balanced? So our approach to handstand development is the same way.
Exactly the same. Now, back to Andy's question in regard, he even points out that he's been doing the overhead flexibility routine using his back balls for thoracic mobilization, using his foam roller for extension stretching, using his massage ball for pec release for 3 days. And he's still really struggling with the movements, with the back bridge and things like that. And, this goes for everybody out there. Flexibility and strength development are something that takes like a lot longer. And he says obviously 3 days he's assuming is not long enough, but this is such a good time to go all in on these things for yourself, because you've got more time than ever before. There's less distraction than ever before. And my answer to Andy and anyone else who's trying to level up their flexibility is that it is a game of millimeters. It is about breaking down your brain's inhibitors that are protecting you from harm, that have been probably developed over a lifetime in many cases, and it's going to take a lot longer than 3 days. It's going to take perseverance. That's not to say that you're not going to experience the feelings and the sensations and the addictions that come as a result of seeing results throughout that time. But I just want to say something that we always talk about here at Unity Gym: focus on the process. Don't focus on, have I unlocked that back bridge yet? Why can't I do it? Focus on the process of releasing the pec every day, stretching those muscles that we've talked about, working on that handstand skill every day, because the end result will come. No matter what, it will come as a result. But, and I'll give a quick shout out. Those of you who don't follow him on YouTube, check out Fitness FAQ, Daniel Vadnal's recent video that he posted, his 10-year calisthenics transformation. I know Rad found it really inspirational. I found it really inspirational. Daniel's a good friend of ours. He was meant to be here on the show a couple of weeks ago, but we got into the lockdown and they couldn't come anymore. They were coming up to do a workshop with us. It's a really inspirational video to watch. It only goes for 12 minutes, and it just sort of outlines his journey from starting calisthenics to where he is now. and celebrating the fact that he's hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
And my teacher used to say to me, my Kung Fu teacher, and we're careful that we don't say this to people, because what we've learned is that people need to feel like they're getting small wins. And so the first thing that I'll say is, you can completely transform your body in 12 months. You can go from like being well overweight to being in extremely good shape, like going from being an overweight person to a lean, muscly person, from being a stiff person to a flexible person, and from being a weak person to being a strong person, meaning couldn't do one pull-up to being able to do muscle-ups. In 1 year, you can do that. But the kind of transformations that a lot of people are looking for, they take 10 years. They really do. And that shouldn't discourage you. You shouldn't, like, I got told that when I was in my early 20s, when I asked my Kung Fu teacher, how long does it take to get good at Kung Fu? And he kind of went, maybe 10 years you could get good. And I was only 19 or 20 at the time. I was like, what? But I didn't, there was something that got really disheartened within me. But at the same time, I just had this overwhelming feeling of, well, what else am I going to do if I let this beat me and I decide that I'm just going to give up on it? Like, where will my life be if I don't even try? And so even though it discouraged me and it disheartened me, I stuck with it and I achieved a decent result. So you can completely change your body, change your life, change your appearance, change your abilities within a year. But those really, really big transformations, when you're looking at, people say, I want to be able to do a press to handstand and, acrobatics, or, I want to completely change something that my body cannot do at all. You've got to accept that it may take you a bit longer than what you expected.
Yeah.
I mean, recently, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was asking about that they're developing tendinopathy and, how do they deal with it? And the answer was, to really get through it, you're looking at probably about 2 years worth of work. And that's a really big hit, but it's a hit that I've gone through. It's a hit that you've gone through. It's a hit that Richard's gone through. And you come out of it on the other side, your body has gone through an adaptation that was holding you back from being able to do things that you want to be able to do. And now all of a sudden, you're set up and capable of being able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, guys, a couple of years ago, it was only a few short years ago that I had completely destroyed my ankle from a mountain bike stack. And then after rehabbing that and having 3 bouts of surgery to reconnect all the tendons and fix the nerves and things in my ankle and foot, it took 8 months of rehab to be able to walk properly again. And then I got out on the soccer field and destroyed my right knee, completely dislocated my knee, tore my anterior cruciate ligament, damaged my MCL and meniscus, and had to have a full knee reconstruction. And these are things that end a lot of people's training career. And just Tuesday I was doing reps at 150 kilos on a back squat. That's all in the past. It was 5-6 years ago now. And yes, it's hard when it happens, and you have to overcome it, and you have to overcome the mindset. And for a whole year, for a year and a half, I was in rehab. Because I rehabbed the ankle and then had to rehab the knee, but you just move on. You just decide this isn't going to beat me. Just like this announcement from the government last night about our rent and the fact that it's going to no doubt make us accumulate bad debt is not going to beat us. As a company, we're going to overcome it. We're going to figure it out, Yeah,
absolutely.
And every one of you guys are facing certain adversities in your life right now, whether it's physical health, whether it's mental health, whether it's financial health. I know that you're facing adversity right now, but you can use it. It can beat you, or you can use it to make you stronger. You can come out of this stronger than you were before, and I know that you've all got the strength and power to be able to do that. You just got to make the decision that you're going to do it, and that's pretty much it. Now, one thing that you can absolutely, we have a lot of people emailing me in response to my daily emails and things like that, asking how they can help. I tell you how you can help. We even have people offering to give us money, lend us money, this sort of thing to keep the gym alive. I don't want to take I don't want to borrow money off people. I don't want people to donate money. What you can do is you can buy our flash sales when they come out on the weekend.
Yep.
That will absolutely help. You can spread it. You can talk our stuff up. You can share our videos. You can, if you know of someone, a friend, a colleague who might benefit or enjoy the style of training that we do, you can share the links and say, guys, this program is awesome. You can give us a Google review or a Facebook review or even a comment in the threads or posts about your experiences with us, because we can use that, to show other people that might be sitting on the fence that we are who we say we are, that we're legit and that we deliver on our promises. All of those things really will help us. But the biggest thing that will help us is that you can help. You can buy our flash sales when they go live on the weekends.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, everyone. We will see you tomorrow for Friday's workout at 7 a.m.
Thanks very much.
Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that
It's
far.
the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.